Yo, what is up everybody? It is Marcus from Fabs Cards and Collectibles back here again with another YouTube video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Joe Milton's card market as well as the prices and trends of his cards. And we're also going to be taking a look at his hype and where that hype has been coming from. Alright, let's get into it. So beginning, we're going to be looking at where does this hype for Joe Milton come from. Joe Milton was probably one of the most viral QBs heading into the 2024 NFL Draft. His elite size frame and probably the strongest arm we've seen in the most recent years was just an eye-catcher for NFL GMs and coaches all across the league. There was clips of Milton going absolutely viral across social media platforms, just airing out the ball 70 plus yards with ease. There's a clip right here showing that exact talent. Clips like these made Milton's draft stock rise rapidly. This effortless throw of 70 plus yards helped him gain multiple draft positions just overnight. With this type of talent, NFL GMs were wondering what the potential of his NFL career could be like. Now we're heading into his college career. For the first couple years, 2 years of his college career, Milton was at Michigan, playing in roughly 12 to 13 games over that time. He would then make his move to Tennessee, which was the first couple seasons plagued by injuries, limiting his game use, which then in 2022 he became the backup behind Hendon Hooker, later leading and starting his first game as a volunteer at the Capital One Orange Bowl, which he led them to a victory and became MVP of that game. The following year, he took the helm of the offense, gaining over 2,500 passing yards, 20 passing touchdowns, and rushing for an additional 7 touchdowns. That was able to showcase his rushing ability as a QB and his just overall passing ability as well. His college career was definitely solid for Milton, and it definitely helped him maintain a probably 4th to 6th round draft pick overall, but definitely the hype of his career came from his social media viral clips of him just absolutely throwing the ball insanely far. Heading into his first year as an NFL QB, Milton was drafted in the 6th round of the 2024 NFL Draft. Milton served as a third-string quarterback for the New England Patriots behind Jacoby Brissett and fellow rookie Drake May. His only appearance of the year came in the season finale against the Buffalo Bills, where he completed 22 of 29 passes for over 240 yards and a touchdown. This performance led the Patriots to a 23-16 victory over the Bills that day, and it rapidly increased the hype of Milton's potential for his career insanely. It had fans and NFL GMs around the league wondering, when will Milton get his shot at a starting QB? And if so, how will he perform? And what his career will look like if he does become the starting QB of an NFL franchise? Many fans were wondering and potentially pondering if Joe Milton should take over the helm of the offense over fellow rookie Drake May, as just this performance really showed a lot. Now we're really going to dive into his card prices, starting off with his prizm rookie prices. Joe Milton's card prices have been on the rise lately due to just many reasons. His prizm base sits around $3 to $4, which is quite average for someone of his skill set as well as his resume so far. The number cards for Joe Milton sit around $100 to $350, which is pretty reasonable, but $350 for a Milton number prizm is definitely quite on the high end for him only playing in one NFL game. His prizm silvers sit around $20 to $30, which is pretty reasonable again, but I definitely think there is some room to grow depending on how well he performs heading into this next preseason. I definitely still think there are some room to grow for his cards right now, but we will honestly see as time will tell if his prices will increase or slowly decrease due to just the hype of the overall class and the newness of the 2024 football sets. As well as we have Optic releasing soon, so we could see a decrease in his prizm cards as Optic is soon to come out, and those prices should sit around reasonably the same price as well as his Prizm cards. Moving on, we're looking at his case hit prices. We're looking at 3 case hits right now: Explosive, Micro Mosaic, and White Knight. All 3 of these case hits sit around $150 to $200. In my opinion, these are pretty reasonable for his resume right now, and I definitely could see an increase in the price of these depending on how well he's going to perform soon. But personally, again, I definitely think this is a very fair price range for some of his case hits so far. Now moving on, we're going to look at the highest sales for Joe Milton's cards so far. Looking at some of these sales, we can see that 3 out of 4 of these sales are the Gold Kaboom out of 10. The Gold Kaboom Raw out of 10 sits around $4,500 to $5,000 for Milton. This is a pretty high price in my opinion for someone who's played one NFL game. But again, it is a Gold Kaboom out of one of the newest sets, I would say, for football. So it definitely is still really rare, as there's only 10 copies, and it's one of the most sought after parallels of a Kaboom. His graded version of this at a PSA 9 recently sold for $10,000, which is incredibly high in my opinion, as $5,000 to $10,000 is 2x, and for a PSA 9, I would personally think it would probably be around $6,000 to $8,000, as it is a 9, and a 10 usually demands anywhere from 2 to 4x depending on the card. And then coming in as the other kind of lone card in this batch, we're looking at the Panini Origins 1/1 Patch Auto NFL Shield booklet for Joe Milton. That was able to sell for $8,000, which is a bit high in my opinion, as I would see a 1/1 Auto Shield for Immaculate, NT, or Flawless sell for around that price. I personally think that's a bit high, as Origins is one of the least sought after card sets of football, usually every year. So we will see if that card goes up on the market and where the price will sell for again once NT, Flawless, and Immaculate release. But we will also see how much the demand for those 1/1 booklets are and shield cards when those releases. Next up, we're going to be looking and comparing Joe Milton's card prices to other QBs. First up, we're going to be comparing his Prizm Silver card to his class of 2024 other QBs. Here we can see that Milton's Prizm Silver is around $20, while Drake May and Bo Nix's cards are about 2 to 3x that price. Jaden Daniels on the far right, we can definitely see is at $220, which is reasonably high for his status, but it also makes sense as he had one of the best rookie seasons of that class. Milton sits around $20 again, which is pretty reasonable for someone who's only started one NFL game, as well as May and Nix, who have started basically the whole season this past year, sitting around $70 to $65. Next up, we're going to be looking at one of the numbered Prizm cards, the Purple Ices. Milton's Prizm Purple Ice is about, again, half to 1/3 the price of Nix and May's, while Daniels is just skyrocketing high at around $720. May and Nix sit around $350 to $400 almost for their Purple Ice cards. Milton's card is definitely again a reasonable price range, as I definitely think for someone who started one NFL game in his career, it shouldn't really be that high of a price. So I definitely think his Prizm cards are fairly valued so far comparing to his fellow classmates of the 2024 NFL draft. But we will see in the future, as time will tell, how these QBs will pan out and if they're really going to do that good as well as they did this year. Next up, we're going to be comparing them to well-established QBs already in the NFL. I've set 3 tiers up for this. We'll have MVP caliber player on the right, which is Joe Burrow, a fringe or Pro Bowl player, which is Kyler Murray, and just a fringe starting QB, Bryce Young. And then we have Joe Milton, who's basically a backup QB right now for the Dallas Cowbys. And so I decided to compare these 3, as we can see there's 2 to 3 relatively close for relatively far gap players, in my opinion. And then you have Joe Burrow, who's just skyrocketing high at around $300. Kyler Murray's Prizm Silver is only $30, which is about $10 more than Joe Milton's right now. And there's some reasons for this, as 2019 was about 5 to 6 years ago now. So his cards have been out for a while, and there's definitely more circulating in the market than Joe Milton's are. But I think Joe Milton's a bit high compared to Kyler Murray, as Kyler Murray has been a starting QB in the league for some time right now. And with Joe Milton only starting one NFL game, you could think Kyler Murray's price is pretty low, but Joe Milton has so much potential that it kind of makes sense, but also doesn't, as him being only $10 less than a starting QB for the past 5 years is pretty questionable. Now heading on to Bryce Young, who's at 45, which is both higher than both of these prices for Murray and Milton. It definitely raises some question, but you also could take in the fact that it could be a rare set, harder to pull that Prizm Silver. But Bryce Young started basically half the season last year. Although he is in a terrible system, in my opinion, down in Carolina for young QBs, I definitely think Bryce Young is a bit overrated right now at his price level for $45. Versus Joe Milton at $20, which is about half the price. I'd rather have 2 Milton Silvers than only 1 Bryce Young Silver, in my opinion. So now heading on, we're looking at kabooms of them. Again, Joe Burrow is skyrocketing high at about $1,500 for his rookie kaboom. Or we're looking at Joe Milton, who's about $700, which again is now almost the reverse of the last slide, which is about higher than Bryce Young and Kyler Murray. Again, like I was saying with the Kyler Murray Silver Prizm, there is probably more kaboom rookies of his in circulation out on the market, so the prices aren't obviously gonna not be like too extremely high, as they're somewhat easy to find. While Milton's could be more difficult to find, as it comes from a newer product, and that new product probably hasn't been pulled too much as a product that has been out for 5 to 6 years. Bryce Young's kaboom is still again higher, like the Prizm Silver versus Kyler Murray. And yes, Bryce Young probably could have much more potential, but I definitely think Kyler Murray is definitely in a better situation than Bryce Young. But again, most of these prices are based off each other's potential, and I think Joe Milton at $700 is a bit overpriced, and I could see this coming down in the next couple months. But again, time will tell on how these QBs will really pan out, and we may never know if these prices were correct or overpriced. Overall, looking at the current state of Joe Milton's market, I definitely think there are some areas to grow and some areas to regress. The areas that I think can grow more are his just numbered Prizm parallels, but also just some of his case hits. His case hits have decent floors, but I think if he has a superb preseason, even if he starts 3 or 4 games in the NFL regular season, we could see most of these prices drastically jump and increase. I definitely think the areas that could regress are some of the higher up caser hits. I was saying that like the regular kaboom, the gold kaboom, stuff like that could potentially come down, even though they're some of the most sought after case hits out there. I definitely think for someone like him, it probably will start to come down in the next couple months, or it will even go up due to people trying to buy him now, as if you really want to invest in Milton, you have to be looking at him now. If Milton just goes in one game in the NFL regular season and goes off, all of his cards are going to be snagged up. And you are going to be wanting to be on that good side of that, where your cards you bought for cheaper in the offseason get snagged up. I definitely think Milton has a future in Dallas, as Dak really just hasn't excelled these past couple years, and I could see him being dealt to somewhere like Cleveland or Pittsburgh. If the Dallas front office decides to do that, don't be shocked if Milton's prices skyrocket. And if you want to be on the good side, you probably have to be buying now. Personally, I think some of his cards overall are pretty overrated, overpriced. And yeah, that's it for me, Marcus, Fabs Cards Collectibles. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a great day, and see ya.